In this video, what you guys going to be learning about is about lighting in 3D Studio Max. Okay, first we need to set up a sample scene, right? It's a simple one with a plane. Just covering the whole grid here. Right click, and then we're going to add a teapot. Right, in the teapot, click and drag. Make sure you are looking at the front, so we need to rotate this teapot. Click E for rotate, and then rotate it slightly in front like this. Okay, and then we need to add the lights. So the light that we're going to be using is Arnold light. Now before we talk about lights, a little bit to talk about the render engine that we are using. Okay, so in 3D Studio Max there are several built-in render engine to render the visual of your 3D scene here. So where can you find that is at the render setup. Okay, so where you can find it is here in the menu. Here you'll see the teapot with the cogwheel here. Right, it's called render setup. If you click that, a render setup panel will pop up. Okay, alright, so if I close this, another shortcut is F10 on the keyboard. F10, that will bring the render setups. Another way, the third way, is go to rendering in the main menu and then choose render setup. So there are three ways you can access render setups, so choose to your liking. Okay, alright, now in the render setups, okay, you have this thing called target. So this is basically a preset of render quality. So just use production rendering mode. This will make sure all the preset setting is quite okay for production. If you don't know how to set up all these little things, okay, and then yeah, it can get very overwhelming. So just stick with production render mode, and then the one that we're going to choose here is the renderer. So you see in the renderer, this let you decide what render engine you want to use. So these are the built-in one inside 3D Studio Max. Okay, so for example, you have the Quicksilver. You notice the menu changes. Suddenly this is just three tabs, and ART renderer and stuff like that, and then you got the Arnold, and by default is Arnold. Arnold is the new 3D Max main star of render engine, so that you can render high quality realistic rendering, you know, something like Pixar's or all this 3D animation that you see kind of quality. Okay, so we're going to stick with Arnold renderer. In the common tab, okay, there is this thing called common tab. Common tab is, of course, it will stay the same. It doesn't matter what renderer you choose, it will still stay the same. So you got common tab here. Okay, alright, all the other tabs will change based on the render engine you choose. So now in the common tab, you see here in the time output on the top right, single means when you click the render button and render the view, it will render a single image. Okay, so all the other settings here is for animation. So we're going to leave it to single first. Okay, and we're going to skip to the output size here. Okay, when we're doing rendering with lighting, just to test, you can choose a preset here, and as you can see, these are all video size. Okay, you got the what is that? All this panoramic and all this cinema quality, HD TV for HD quality. You want IMAX and stuff like that. But we want our own custom size, so we're going to choose custom, and we're going to stick with this size here, 640 by 480 in pixels. So the image is not that big, so it won't the rendering won't take that long. Okay, and the rest we just leave it as default, and we can close this. Okay, this view here, what you see is it's not really the 640 by 480. So if you want to see it cropped to 640 by 480, you can go to the perspective view and then choose show save frame, which is Shift F for the shortcut. Okay, you see it is cropped a bit. You see this line here. So what you see inside this yellow line is the 640 by 480 framing. Okay, all right, and then let's add the lighting. Okay, so we go to the create tab, and now we want to create lights. Okay, and click the photometric, and you see photometric, standard, and Arnold. Of course, all the render engine comes with two things, two additional things, which is the lighting, their own lighting, and also their own material. Okay, material is for the surface, which you'll learn later. So it's better to use their own lighting because it will be more highly compatible and will work better and will perform perform better in terms of performance. So it will render faster. So click Arnold, and you see here there's only one light that we can use, but this is actually like a Swiss Army knife of lights. For Arnold, this one light we can actually change to a different mode of light. Okay, so don't be alarmed like when you see standard, wow, there's like 6 light, but how come this Arnold only one light? Very lauya low. Okay, actually it's not. It's because this Arnold light can change to different type of light after you create them. Okay, so now let's add the light here. So select the Arnold light, and you see there's a target button on a target icon on our mouse, and let's add a light. And now if you want to create the light, don't click in this empty void space. Look down on the grid and click on the grid. Okay, so I added one. Right click, you might want to move it, W for move, and then move it here. And of course light should be above, right? Light's not on the floor, so we're going to move Z to up here. Oops. Okay, and let's check the properties of this light. Let's select we already select the lights, and then let's go to the modify tab. Now this will open the properties of the light, and you see, as you can see, here's Arnold light. And then let's start from the top here. Okay, so this on off is an on off button of lights, but another thing here, you can see that there's nothing changes here in the light, like in the scene, in the viewport here. See, if I move the light, you don't see the light effect. If you want to see the light effect, at least some sort of guidance, go to standard on the perspective viewport here and choose high quality. Okay, if your graphic card is good, you'll be able to see some sort of a lighting effect, which follows closely to how the render output going to be. Now when you render it out, it will look somewhat close to this. Okay, that is if I turn it off, you see now it's black. If I turn it on, now you see the light. So it's like a light switch. Okay, so you can turn on and off. When you have a lot of lighting, you can do that, turn on and off. Okay, let's move on to the shape here. The type. Okay, the type is called the quad light. So this light is a triangular light. Okay, and the needle you see here is the direction of the light. So basically this light is like a one direction kind of light. Okay, I can change to another one here called active shade using Arnold. Okay, you will see it's actually rendering my viewport view here. Only turn this or use this if your computer have good strong graphic card and computer system lah. Okay, see now the arrow is pointing here. So let's say if I rotate and look away from the teapot, you see now the whatever behind is not cast, the light is not cast, it's not shine. through, it's already on the side of the needle. Okay, I'm going to undo. So that is basically how the light behave. Now the light also behave based on the size. Imagine this is a big square LED light. Okay, so imagine if I go back down here, you see skip there a bit, like quad X and Y is 24 times 24 mm. So this light is this size, 24 by 24 mm. So if, let's say if you put 100, you see the size of the rectangle shape change. Now I have a very strong light. See, the light is very strong because the light is big. It's not because of the intensity of the light is brighter, it's the light size is big, right? You can see it also brings different behavior to the shadow and all that. Looks nice, right? Okay, select this view. Let's select this light. Okay, I'm going to make it smaller again, maybe 30 by 30. Okay, let's go back up here. I'm going to zoom this a bit. Alright, now this is how the no, we want to see it in this is actually rendering the view, but we want to see it in a better render panel. Okay, not in the viewport. Alright, so how do we do that is we're going to bring on the render view in Arnold here. Arnold render view, click that. Okay, alright, let's open this size. You see nothing because you have to activate the rendering. You have to click on the refresh button here. Now it will start to render, but it looks kind of the same with the view that you see here. Okay, see, it's rendering. There you go. But it looks quite the same, quite almost close, right? Okay, but this is the render that you want to actually see, that you can save as an image. Alright, another way I can turn this off actually, to turn off the active shade. Oh no, I'm turning it on actually. I'm going to turn it off. Alright, the Arnold render view. See, if I turn the play button here, it will constantly update my rendering. See, whenever I move in the viewport, in the perspective here, perspective viewport. Alright, cool, is that right? Okay, let's push this somewhere safer. Okay, selecting the light. Now let's go through the option even more. Besides that, yeah, right, you can actually use the scale to scale the light bigger if you want. See, you can actually scale it bigger this way. Okay, I'm going to undo back. Then let's talk about the spread. Okay, down here, spread is basically if you put like 10, let's put that 10, or number 1 is the highest. If you see you put it lower, 0.2, you will see the spread of the light is now even more, is shorter a little bit. Okay, alright, so if I spread it back to 1 is the 100% now. Okay, resolution is the quality, but 500 should be enough. Rounders and soft edges, we don't have to worry about that. Okay, now light, shape visible, if you check that, I don't see the difference anyway also, but yeah, so it's not really that important. Always visible in the viewport. Also another thing, same thing, right? So just leave it alone. Let's move on to the color. Okay, so you can actually color your light. So for example, if I want to, now it's white, if I want to have different color, like maybe purple, see, if you change this and then change this one here, the whiteness, hit OK, so now the color of the light is purple. So you can change whatever color you want, okay, as long as you get your art style looks like how you want it. Alright, another color method is preset. You can use preset. So you got fluorescent light, you have tungsten, if I'm not mistaken, but there's a lot of fluorescent here, tungsten here. Okay, you can change, you can even let's say, okay, so these are the you know, incandescent. So if you want to choose a preset. Now another type of color is the color temperature. So it's measured by Kelvin. So this is very general. If you learn photography, you know, it's measured by this also. In your camera you can set the settings. So 6500 is a white color, as you can see from here. See, if I can't click this color box, because if I choose lower than 6500, like 5000, you will see the color become more warmer. Okay, if I go lower, 3000, now it's more warmer color. If you go above 6500, like 7500, it will become a cooler color. Okay, so if you go 8000, okay, so start that 8, sometimes it does that, and to stop the constant render. Okay, so 8500, and then I hit the refresh button. Okay, you'll see that the color is going to be more colder lah. Alright, okay, now, but I suggest you use the color function more better lah, so because you can change to red color, orange color, up to you. Okay, so you can also replicate all the preset lighting as well. So this is more powerful actually. I would prefer this. Okay, let's go down to the intensity. So let's say I want the intensity, still rendering. Okay, I want to make the light more brighter. Instead of making the light size bigger, I want to make that light actually cast a stronger light. Then you can adjust the intensity here. So if I now is 1, if I put like 5, you will see things are more brighter now. Okay, see, it's more brighter, right? As you can see, it's not really one-to-one the same here in the view. So but at least it gives you some guidance lah of how it's going to look like in the final render here. Okay, all right. Next part is exposure. Exposure is basically increasing the exposure of the video, I mean the render. So if I put like 10, obviously it's going to be atomically overexposed, right? You will see it's super overexposed, so control your exposure properly. Alright, so normally just control 6 to 5 should be better. Okay, we give you more natural color. Alright, now yeah, let's move on to the next one. The next one is the rendering here. Okay, if you see your shadow sometimes look a bit too noisy, like very noisy, not detailed, you can improve your shadow and lighting quality by increasing the sample, because right now is just one is very low. Normally maximum you can you should go is about 16, but 16 is still a bit too overkill. You can increase gradually by the power of 2 lah. For example, if I increase to 4, this is actually quite high. See, if I render now, the whole thing will improve better. The render quality will improve better, but the render time will take longer. For example, here this render took 11 seconds. Now with the sample 4, okay, let's see how long it will take. So now it's higher. It's taking 14 seconds to render this, and you can see the shadow here is a bit it's more improved. It's more nicer. than the number sample 1. Okay, so but for this tutorial I'm just going to keep it to 2. Okay, then the other last option here is cast shadow. So you can weirdly, for some reason, turn off the shadow, and you will see that it is no longer rendering shadow, and the render also is more faster. Alright, so there you go, can turn back on. And yeah, that's covered about the first type of lighting, which is the quad, and the intensity, color intensity, and also sampling and sample quality, and also shadow. Now in the next video I'm going to cover all the other type of lighting. Wait, okay, but I will not repeat on shadow rendering, intensity, and color intensity, because it's actually the same. Whatever mode you choose, okay, these are still the same, so I don't have to repeat this. But the first section here will be different based on the type of lighting you choose. Okay, so I'll see you on the next video. Bye.